as well. I apologize for the lighting. The lighting is just horrible. It just looks like total crap. There's shadows everywhere. I've got shadows on this side, and I don't know what to tell you. This is the way it works when you have to improvise and go with what you got. So there you're at. That's what's happening. Okay, so welcome to Randsanity, episode 272. 272. T minus 96 days and counting to 1 full year of doing this. To an exact full crazy year of doing this every night. I have not missed a night yet. So we've done this continually, even though I had to road trip, jumped on an airplane, flew to the East Coast, and here I am. So still doing it, still making it happen. So we'll talk a little about Prince tonight. Just some songs that are underrated by Prince, as well as we'll just do the music history stuff, some births and deaths, and maybe my take on the world. Musically, I am not going to get into the other parts of the world right now. No fucking way. There's no way I want to make comment on that whatsoever. I know you're supposed to have people that, either love you or hate you, but yeah, I'm of the mindset that there's no reason to create polarization. So I'm just going to shut the fuck up. That's how that works. So there you go. All right. So let's talk about Prince. Let's start with Prince a little bit tonight, because he is definitely one of the greatest musicians of all times. I got to meet Prince. It was a fun time. It was actually in Vegas. We went out to Las Vegas for one of these, junkets that we used to do. And we went to his club, and he was in town in Vegas, and he went to perform. Now, what was so funny was that, again, we get into this club. I mean, it's like kind of the middle of the day, and Prince comes out to perform, and everyone's hanging back. I mean, there wasn't a ton of people there because it's like his residency. It's his bar, and it was in the Rio, and no one's going anywhere. So I'm just like, okay. So I just walked right up to the stage, like I'm the only one staying there stage, and I'm like with a camera, like click, 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 taking pictures left and right. And a couple people come up. A guy walks up, he goes, "You're going to take pictures." He goes, "Oh my." I'm like, okay. I'm all good. Sorry, didn't know. I'm like, even though literally there was nobody there, and I'm there taking pictures. And so, afterwards we, got to say hello to him. Like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, "Well, thank you for coming." I'm like, it was just kind of not expected, kind of crazy experience. But what the really funny part was, like after the show's done, I'm standing there, and this dude walks up to me. Just random guy is like, "Hey, you doing?" I was like, pulls a business card. He's like, and it's like, floor manager, MGM or something. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, "What's up, man?" He goes, "Share those pictures with me, and I'll copy for the night." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He goes, "The pictures? You took those pictures?" He goes, "You can't do that." He goes, "I want a copy of those. Send them to me. I'll copy for the night." I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "No problem." So hand me his business card. So I was like, all right, whatever. Sure as shit. We go to the MGM, and he's just like, "Have fun." He's like, drinks and VIP and shit. I was like, okay, that's fucking amazing. Because I guess no one thought that you just take pictures of Prince while you're standing right there next to him. But I did. And, they weren't happy about it, but I didn't get thrown out. They just told me to stop. So I did, and so got to meet him afterwards. But I've seen him a few times. Saw him play in Columbus, saw him play a few times. And again, amazing musician, amazing artist. And he's definitely one of the greatest of all times. There's next level talent there. It really is. In a couple of albums defined him, in a time that there was Michael Jackson going on. When Doves Cry, multi-instrumental release of singles at this wild pace. I mean, the guy was just a machine. And the thing was even more surprising is that all of them hit at all the time. I mean, he was a master. Okay. Even though at the fiery peak of his existence, though, Prince was far too talented to truly fall off. Throughout his illustrious career, there were some dazzling outings in his discography. Consequently, there are some songs that are underrated, okay? I Would Die For You singer shouldn't continue to go under the radar. All right, so here's 4 underrated Prince songs you need to somehow listen to. Okay, whatever your means of listening to is, Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever. Okay, first song is Somewhere Here on Earth. Okay, by this point in Prince's career, a lot of people have tapped out from the Purple One. The 80s were largely considered the prime of his career. So by the 90s, he had to battle back and forth with his record label on how and when he would release his music. As a result, he disavowed the Prince name entirely. He wrote Slave. Do you remember that, when he wrote Slave on his face as a protest? Meanwhile, some people were largely tapped out of the music because they didn't reach the heights of Purple Rain. That's, if it wasn't, that level, it's hard sometimes. But deep in the discography, you can find one of the best songs, 2007, Somewhere Here on Earth. It's beautifully tender, intimate, where Prince contends with space and long distance. As much as people were growing more and more comfortable with the internet, none of it could really faze him. Instead, Prince yearns for the personal touch. In this digital age, you could just page me. I know it's the rage, but it just don't engage me. Like the face-to-face. He crooned, with the digital age increasing drastically. Few love songs feel so timely with the lyrics about pagers. Pagers. So again, that it's really a good song to check out. Somewhere Here on Earth from 2007. Okay. Next is Love Sign. Now this is Shock G remix. So over the years, Prince has always been thorny to certain music and music industry persons at large. Hip hop in particular saw some of the criticism. Okay. He didn't like it and he wasn't a fan. His thorny feelings towards sampling are well documented in A Borderline Prophecy. It took years for him to find a record that he truly loved in Public Enemy, Fight the Power. However, when he linked with the Slate Shock G for Love Song remix, it showed just how well Prince could fit into the hip-hop space. Shock G's production is light, it's bouncy, it's the kind of backdrop that would sound like a soundtrack of a day of errands or a chill filler for a TV episode of a TV made for movie. Given Prince's sort of affinity, to fight the power, it makes sense that he would lead with a righteous fervor. Love Sign revolves around the leading with love in a world of increasing evil. Even if you would rather make love and have a little fun, throw up the love sign, everybody, and not the gun. Prince croons on the hook. Although the hip hop was not his number one choice for an artist, Love Sign proved that he could hop with the best and paint this picture with it. So again, definitely another one to listen to. Okay. Strange Relationship. Now, Sign of the Times is an unquestionable classic in all-time music history. While Purple Rain maximized the scale on a smaller sample size, the 1987 record thrives in expansion and experimentation. The second disc in particular rises to the occasion with the all-time closer and classic, If I Was Your Girlfriend and I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man. However, smacked right between the latter two is the criminally underrated Strange Relationship. There's a push and pull of control, possessiveness, where sometimes Prince can't stand this woman, but he also cares enough not to see her miserable. It's an early prototype of what toxic R&B types have sung about for years at this point. But the late icon tapped into that ugly back and forth all the way back into the 80s. Okay. Lastly, the song is Do Yourself a Favor. Okay. Prince has always been particular about which songs he released. However, the estate has shared some real gems that probably should have been released, but again, weren't because of Prince's sort of peccadillos and particularities, okay? Take Do Yourself a Favor, a prototype song from the prime of his career. It's an incredibly bright, funky, though there's an addictive sass to Prince's songwriting and delivery in this one. It takes a page from I Could Take This Place of Your Man. It basks in the idea of being single, but there's a contempt where he tells this woman to essentially kick rocks if they ever cross paths again. Instead of pain, there's liberation. It's not dealing with a person that never tried to truly understand him. Prince wears spite really well. Do Yourself a Favor is a great example of it. So those are 4 really underrated Prince songs that you need to check out if you're a fan of Prince, okay? Just worth checking out. So the song is Do Yourself a Favor, okay? Strange Relationship, Love Shack, but it's a Shock G remix. And of course, you've got to get under this one, Somewhere Here on Earth. Okay? So again, Prince, way underrated. Definitely worth checking out. Definitely worth trying to listen to some of these songs. He's one of those things. Yes, everything's okay with the basement. Just, not in the basement. I'm in New York. I had to take a road trip. So I jumped on an airplane the other day. I booked my flight at 11 o'clock or 6 o'clock, was on the airplane by 8 o'clock and got here by midnight. So I've been here for 24 hours now. So just a quick adventure to the East Coast. Go check out the scene, go into the city and have a little bit of fun. Got to do that stuff, That's the way that works. So there you go. Some underrated Prince. And, you can't hate Prince for that one. Little music history. Again, I'm going to keep these kind of brief. I'm not going to get too deep on any of these. I'm going to keep the shows to around 30 minutes since, it's awkwardly not my vibe here. My lighting's bad. It's kind of weird. I have to use two different devices to stream because I don't have my normal cameras. So I don't have camera 1, 2, 3 to turn my head to. I'm seated, which is kind of weird, but that's okay. Normally I'm standing. I always told the DJs that, when they broadcast, forever they used to have stools and benches up. And I was like, no. I was like, we're getting rid of everything in the studios. There is no, you stand because you vocalize better when you're standing. You don't see a lot of, musicians sitting down when they're playing. No, they stand. They stand behind the microphone and they sing. They don't just sit there. So, we want you to stand and vocalize. So that's what we're trying. But we're sitting here. So this is just one of those weird ones where I'm seated. I don't know why, but that's what's happening. Anyway, so in 1963, Patsy Cline, crazy for feeling, that Patsy Cline made her final television appearance on the last day of February of her career and forever, as she appeared in the Glenn Reeves show singing San Antonio Rose and I Fall to Pieces. Patsy Cline, another musician who died in a plane crash 5 days later at the age of 30. So she died on March the 5th. Plane crash. Patsy Cline, along with Buddy Holly, Leonard Skinner, the Big Bopper, just, this whole litany of artists that, again, stop flying small planes. Take a damn commercial jet. Send your equipment via bus or whatever. Just stop flying on these damn puddle jumpers. I'm telling you, man. Not doing anybody any favors whatsoever, especially yourself, because you aren't making it. That's what I'm saying. 1966, on this day, the last day of February, police were called to the Cavern Club in Liverpool with over 100 music fans barricading themselves inside, protesting the club's closure, where the Beatles had played 292 times. 292 times the Beatles played in the Cavern Club. They couldn't make it. They couldn't do it because they owed like 15 grand. And in 1966, that was a lot of dough. That was like 100 grand nowadays. So they couldn't do it. Their final performance in the club was on August 3rd, 1963, the Beatles. So after they were done, people weren't going to the Cavern Club, and it had to close. Wah. Okay, now this one's just nuts. Peter Green, who was with the New Musical Express, Fleetwood Mac's Peter Green, okay, talked about his plans to give away all of his money in 1970. Okay, so he said, "I'm giving away all my money. I'm going to get rid of everything. I'm just going to live this bohemian lifestyle." So the following year, he confronted his accountant with a gun after he sent him an unwanted royalty check. Okay, I forget, they said it was like a $30,000 royalty check that he, his accountant sent. There you go. Here's a royalty check. You get it. It's yours. Okay. So he went berserk. He confronted the accountant with a gun. The police were called. He was arrested. He made a whole big scene. The whole big thing occurred. And he went to jail briefly before being transferred to an insane asylum. And he was committed to a mental hospital in 1973. He relaunched his career finally back in the 90s, decades later. But yes, he was absolutely batshit crazy. So they put him into an insane asylum. So yeah, if someone sends you a check for 30 grand, don't go after the guy who sent it to you with a gun. Someone's going to think you're bonkers, which you probably are if you go ahead and return that. Yeah, I just got a check for $30,000 and I'm going to go ahead and point a gun at the guy that sent it to me. Asshole. Can't believe you pointed a gun at me. Okie dokie. Not me, man. That's not me. Just saying. Anyway. Shit. Don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, watch, share, and get the alerts when I do this live thing. It's usually 11 o'clock. All right? Brilliant. Now, this one is also one of those ones where I'm like, okay. Led Zeppelin, the band Led Zeppelin, played a gig in Copenhagen. The evening of the show, they went as the band The Knobs. N-O-B-S, Knobs. If you're a knob. Afterwards, the reason is that Ava von Zeppelin, a relative of the airship designer, the Zeppelin, threatened to sue if the family name was used in Denmark. So Led Zeppelin had to literally change their name for the show in Copenhagen because of the fact that Ava von Zeppelin said, no, you go ahead and use that. We will sue you for using our name. I mean, yeah, I guess, right? But yeah, in the whole country, I mean, it's not like Denmark is giant or anything. And, I'm sure that the Von Zeppelins were rather famous, but still, you can't use my name or I'll sue you. Fair enough. We're the Knobs. Someone has to be the Knobs. Also in 1970, the duo of Simon and Garfunkel started a 6-week run on the U.S. singles chart with Like a Bridge Over Troubled Water. They also went to number 1 in the UK in March. It became one of the most performed songs of the 20th century, with over 50 artists, among them Elvis Presley and Aretha Franklin, covering the song. Like a bridge over troubled waters, I will. There's my take on that one. Also 1970, billed as David Bowie's new electric band, and they were so new that they haven't even gotten the name at that time, played at the Balsadon Arts Lab Experimental Music Hub in Balsadon Arts Centre, Essex, England. Also in the bill were High Tide, Overson, and Iron Butterfly. Iron Butterfly with the Inagata Davida, which was every album-oriented rock's DJ's best friend at 2 o'clock in the morning when they had to go to the bathroom. They would just kick Inagata Davida onto the radio, and they'd have 18 minutes to go do their business. whatever that business might be at that moment. That's what happens. In 1977, Ray Charles, now remember, Ray Charles is blind, okay? You do know this, right? Ray Charles was attacked on stage by a man who tried to strangle him with a microphone cord. So clearly he didn't see this coming. I know, bad joke. Just saying. The man was a member of a group called Project Heavy, a community program for disadvantaged youths. They promised that their matter would be handled within the organizations and no charges were filed. Okay, so why would you strangle Ray Charles? I'm just wondering. That's just me. That's just me. I don't know. I'm confused by that one. In 1983, U2 released their third studio album, War. Produced by Steve Lillywhite, the album had come to be regarded as U2's first overtly political album, in part because a song like Sunday Bloody Sunday and New Year's Day. War became the band's first number one album in the United Kingdom, knocking Michael Jackson's Thriller from the top of the charts. The boy on the cover of the album is Peter Rowan, the brother of Bono's friend Gucci from the Virgin Prunes. I mean, aren't all prunes virgin? Just wondering. And then, of course, 1984, Michael Jackson won an 8-record Grammy Award, including Album of the Year for Thriller, Record of the Year, and Best Rock Vocals for Beat It, Best Pop Vocal Performance, Best R&B Performance, and Best R&B Song for Billie Jean, and Best Recording for Children for E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Jesus, Michael. Leave some awards for someone else. That's all I'm telling you. That's what I'm asking you. In 1986, George Michael announced that Wham would officially split during the summer. Wham became one of the most successful pop acts of the 1980s, selling more than 30 million records worldwide from 1982 to 1986. The single Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Everything She Wants, and Careless Whisper all topped the Billboard Hot 100 chart in the U.S. Yes, Wham was a good band. I mean, you can't hit on George Michael. Just saying, you know. Bob Dylan in 1989 recorded the first sessions for the Oh Mercy album at the studios in New Orleans, Louisiana. What became Dylan's 26th studio album, this is 1989, 26th studio album, released by Columbia Records in September of 1989, which was produced by Daniel Lyness. Eric Clapton played his 100th performance at London's Royal Albert Hall in 1994 on this day, which was in aid of the Children in Crisis charity. A young Clapton first graced the Royal Albert's famous stage on December 7th, 1964 with the Yardbirds as part of the BBC Top of the Pop Beat concert. So yeah, that's pretty epic to do 100 shows there. I mean, you know, the Beatles did 292 at the Cavern Club, but he's not the Beatles. 1996, Alanis Morissette won Album of the Year for Jagged Little Pill, Best Female Rock and Vocal, Best Song You Ought to Know. Nirvana's Unplugged won Best Alternative Album, and Coolio Best Rapster Performance with Gangsta Paradise. That is such a good song. I put that on earlier. I'm like, yes, Gangster Paradise, absolutely. You can't hate Gangster Paradise. It just isn't one of those songs you can hate. No, no, no. You have to love it. Speaking of gangsters, 1997, Suge Knight, Death Row boss Marion Suge Knight was sentenced to 9 years in prison for violating his probation for a 1995 assault conviction. Under the U.S. law, Knight would not be allowed to run Death Row Records while he was serving his prison sentence. Suge Knight. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In 2008, the Arctic Monkeys won 3 prizes, including Best British Band at this year's NME Award, held at the O2 in London. The band's single Fluorescent Adolescent won them Best Track, and they won Best Video for Teddy Picker. Best album went to the Klaxons for Myths of the Year, Near Future, while Kate Nash won Best Solo Artist. Muse was presented with the Best Live Band Award, and U.S. group The Killers took Best International Act. Manic Street Preachers, who performed at the ceremony, awarded the NME's Godlike Genius honor, and Baby Shambles frontman Pete Doherty was voted Hero of the Year. Britney Spears' Blackout was voted Worst Album, and the Hosers were named Worst Band. Oh, Britney. Worst Album. Poor Britney. As I said yesterday, I did see there was an Instagram post by Britney. Rather, she was having a mental health crisis. She was on drugs. She was having a drug-induced mental health crisis. Something was off. So I was like, oh, Britney. Poor thing. Just can't get a break with that one. Just telling you, just unfortunately. Now, this one just keeps haunting. Every time I read it, I'm like, bro, what? 2008, Boy George pled not guilty to falsely imprisoning a male escort by chaining him to a wall. The singer and DJ was also accused of assaulting Aiden Carlson during the alleged incident on the 28th of April in 2007. He was released on bail until a trial at the Snaresbrook Crown Court in November. I'm sorry, if you chain a male escort to a wall, are you not in fact imprisoning him? I'm just curious. And how are you not falsely imprisoning him? Yes, please chain me to the wall. I would like to be unchained now, please. No, well then you're falsely not imprisoning him? I mean, sure, if you want to get chained to the wall, great. That's your thing. Okay, be my guest. I'm all for it. But, if you're not wanting to be chained to the wall, I think that's falsely imprisoning, especially a male escort. Oh, Boy George, what are you going to do, right? 2016, Adele was number 1 on the UK and US album charts with her third studio album, 25. The album was a massive commercial success, debuting at number 1 in more than 25 markets. 25 received the Brit Award for Album of the Year and also won the 2017 Grammy Award for Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album. So I had to read this earlier when I read it. I was like, wait, the album was a massive commercial success, debuting at number 1 in more than 25 markets. 25 received the British. I was like, not 25 markets. The fucking album was named 25. So confusingly, it was written that she debuted at number 1 in 25 markets, and the album is 25. So if you were confused, you're a better human than I am, because I was like, huh? What? I'm confused by all this. Just saying. That's how that works. 2025, American singer and songwriter and actor David Johansen, also known as Buster Poindexter to most. He had that crazy voice. From the New York Dolls, died of cancer at the age of 75. Along with the Velvet Underground and the Stooges, New York Dolls were also the first bands in the early punk rock scene. The band's first 2 albums, New York Dolls 1973, Too Much Too Soon 1974, became the most popular cult records in rock. In the late 80s, Johansen achieved moderate commercial success under the pseudonym of Buster Poindexter, accompanied by his Uptown Horns, performing jump blues, traditional pop, swing, and novelty songs. He also did some acting. If you remember, he was in the movie Scrooged. He was the taxi driver, and he was one of the ghosts along with Bill Murray in Scrooged. Yes, Buster Poindexter. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, Born on this day. Born on this day. Also, things that happen on this day. 1983, the very last episode of MASH, the TV show MASH. Whoa, shit! There goes, I was like, there goes my entire laptop because I put my reading material up there because I still have my notes. I still take my damn notes. But MASH, last episode performed by MASH on this day, the last day of February in 1983. Oops, sorry, this thing's falling. Okay, and 125 million viewers. 125 million viewers. That's a lot back in 1983. Also on this day, 1997 was the day of the Hollywood shootout between two armed gunmen, heavily armed with automatic weapons, flak jackets, and everything else with police. And it was a similarity to the movie Heat. If you ever saw the movie Heat, that gunfight scene was said to be one of the most accurate. They trained for that thing. The military's used it for training and everything else. But it actually, when art imitates life and life imitates art, this shootout scene in 1997 imitated that art in the shootout scene in Heat, as it happened in Hollywood. These guys, like, you can go look at some of the footage. It's nuts. It's absolutely insane. These guys were fully body armored, flak jackets, head to toe, using superior firepower against the police. It was crazy. It really was kind of crazy. I was like, whoa, interesting. So, okay, born on this day, Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones. He would have been 84 today. He died in 1969. Also born on this day, Donnie Iris. Donnie Iris, who says the song Aaliyah, Aaliyah, here we go again. Also, playing that funky music, white boy. That Donnie Iris is 83, still standing, still around. Donnie Iris. Bernadette Peters. I didn't know she was still alive. Bernadette Peters from The Jerk. Bernadette Peters, 83. Cindy Wilson, B-52 singer, 69. Love Shack. I can't read my writing. Sorry. Anyway, I think it was Don Sandy of Tears for Fears. He was one of the guys, writer of Tears for Fears, 69. Phil Gould of Level 42, also 69. Jake Bugg, artist Jake Bugg, who we've had in the station many times. Jake Bugg, great human being, 32 years old. Gavin McLeod, Captain Steubing from The Love Boat. He would have been 95 today. He died in 21. Fran Boone, it's Fran Boner, WKRP in Cincinnati. Herb Tarlick, the sales manager, died in 21. Remember, yesterday was Dr. Johnny Fever's birthday. But yes, Frank Boner of WKRP, Herb Tarlick, he would have been 84 today. Gilbert Godfrey would have been 71 today. He died back in 22. Gilbert Godfrey, comedian. He also was the Aflac Duck at first. Aflac. And Dorothy Stratton, star 80, Playboy model, movie made after her, her crazy-ass boyfriend, Dorothy Stratton, at 20 years old. She was born in 1960. She would have been 66 today. She died in 1980. And again, the movie was Star 80. That was the Borns. Died on this day, Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey died, he would have been 90 years old, died in 2009. I read a couple stories about Paul Harvey and some of the shenanigans he pulled, where he tried to get bombs through security and shit, and just like, bro, can't do that stuff nowadays. You'd have some serious ass problems. Oh man. George Kennedy. Now, George Kennedy, actor. I was like, wait, I know I just talked about George Kennedy, actor. So I was like, wait, yes, of course. Right. So he was born on 2/18 and he died on 2/28. So he definitely falls in that dying in that 10% close to your birthday rule. So George Kennedy from, Airplane, from the Police Academy movies with Leslie Nielsen. Anyway, he died at the age of 75, or died at the age of 91. Sorry. He died at the age of 91 and 16. He would have been 101 years old today. We talked about David Johansen, Buster Poindexter, dying at the age of 75 last year. Also, Chris Curtis from The Searchers. He did the song Needles and Pins, died in 2005 at the age of 63. Mike Smith with the Dave Clark 5. Died in 2008 with the song Glad All Over, Glad All Over. That's a hotel. Yes, it is. That is a hotel. So that's what's going on. Excuse me. So there you go. That was the births. That was the deaths. That was the history. That was the news. That was all the stuff that's fit to print. What else? I think that's about it. Nothing, like I said, not too crazy. I did not get a chance to dig too deep into all my music stuff today because I was busy doing things, which happens. I don't get to do all my research that I would like to do sometimes because life unfortunately interrupts and I have to deal with other things. I did look a little bit thing about there's this shoegaze. Do you know what shoegaze is? That genre of shoegaze. It's kind of a weird genre for me. It's a little fuzzy and it's I don't know. But there's a thing called Zoom gaze. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's Generation Z or Zoomers shoegaze music. It's pretty straightforward. And the nuance is fascinating. But in the era of shoegaze, this is this sort of these groundbreaking bands that influenced them from the 80s and the 90s. So there's the bands Trikes, Try or TRXY. So Trikes. I didn't really know. It's almost a definition of zoom gaze, taking shoegaze and then blending in the elements of grunge, alt pop. Trixie perfectly, that's how it's pronounced, Trixie. Perfectly embodies the modern shoegazes and where the new generation of artists is taking it. Trixie just dropped their brand new album, Drowning in Bliss, literally yesterday, just the 27th. So it's just what it is. The record is commiserating the Laurie expressed the art done through this fuzzy riffs, clobbering drums, and florid melodies. I didn't really get a chance to listen to it much, a little bit, so it's worth checking out. You can hear the new single "Rot," and it's one of those things. Another one is "Glare," and these guys are from Texas, so everything's bigger in Texas. Apparent also means that fuzz emanating from the guitar amp. It's all thanks to the band Glare, a lower Rio Grande Valley grungy gaze band that's been sort of hum-shedding over the last decade. So if you like the gaze, you'll like this 90s alt like guitar. It's exactly the formula to crave if that's what you like. Another band is called Wisp. I know some of these names just I don't create this. I'm just telling you. But Wisp, it's the kind of best of made the bands like Slow Ride and the Cocktail Twins so special. There's this honest, it's kind of a feminine vulnerability in her music. It definitely it's a mistake for you to think about fragility, though. It's definitely sort of this profound strength to it. But yeah, Wisp is that band. So hailing from the Bay Area in California, they've been crafting this gazy music for just a few years. In 25, she dropped her debut album, If Not Winter. And it's a great place to start learning more about this new generation of shoegazers. Lastly, the band Scarlet House. I don't really know if there's anything I can say about Scarlet House that it's you have to listen to them. It's sort of what Scarlet Haze is the future, what shoegaze I guess was. It's the brainchild of a 25-year-old Charlotte, North Carolina native, Cameron Odoms. In 24, he released a project titled Homecoming, and it's sort of the strong evidence of what the future of gaze music holds. So check out Scarlet House. It's definitely worth listening to any of these. Like I said, it's an interesting genre. It really is. But check out Scarlet House, check out Wisp, check out Glare, and check out Trixie. Okay, so they're all 4 bands. They're definitely worth checking on. Just to try something new. That's all you can do. Try something new. Wisp, right? She's green metal. Green metal. There you go. That's a good one. Green metal. All right, I like that. Green metal for Wisp. So see, someone already knows them. Oh, Yab knows them. All right, so Wisp. So see, I'm not discovering stuff. I'm just sharing things that you can discover along with me. All right. On that note, I'm going to depart because, again, I'm trying to keep way too many balls in the air here. This whole trying to produce and direct and read and look at the camera and not crash everything is harder than it seems. Trust me, people. It really is. So, all right. Normally, I would just, like I said, I'd look at a different camera. I'd push the buttons, say fade to black, but I don't have that ability. I can turn off the light and do this and go, okay, it gets darker now, but see, I've got a light on over there. So it's still got some light. My color balance is horrible. I look like I've been out in the sun all day. Jeez, what is going on with that? I don't even know. Don't ask me. I don't know what the filter problem is. Anyway, all right. So I'll be back tomorrow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, watch, share, all that stuff. Everything under the sun. Okay. And I'll do this again tomorrow, 11 o'clock. And I'll still be here, still be on the East Coast. And who knows? We'll maybe discover something exciting. Until then, have a great rest of your Saturday night. Well, you still got a few minutes. And have an outstanding Sunday. Do something great for somebody tomorrow, just because with the world as is right now, we just need to do random stuff. Even if you just let someone pull in front of you in traffic and don't flip them off. Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a great evening. Fade to black. We'll do one at a time. So fade to black there. Okay, so oops, I screwed that up, I think. Did I? Oh, shit, I must have. Hold on. There we go. We're fade to black. So end that stream.